Now, guys, I got to tell you, we got Dr. Jerry Ault from the University of Miami. And Jerry, we have been tagging tarpon since 2001.
That's right.
And I want you to tell me, what have we learned since the first fish that we've tagged?
Sure. So the effort itself is a hallmark effort between science and anglers. They've been supporting the tagging efforts, but what we've learned are that tarpon move thousands of miles in their annual migration between the southern and northern point. They cover basically the entire Gulf of Mexico in terms of connectivity from the Yucatan.
So let's look at the first chart. Here it is. Go ahead.
This chart that we're looking at is a representation of all the tags, if you will. The lines represent the migration track. The colors represent the locations we tag. And so, if you will, in the lower left side are fishes that we tagged in Veracruz, Mexico, that many of these big animals went up to the plume of the Mississippi River to feed on menhadens, crabs, etc. The red is for the Texas movements. Notice one of the tags, in fact, went on land. It was actually picked up and driven to Dallas. But the pink are Apalachicola, the orange are Boca Grande, and the blue-white are the Keys. The thing to note about that is fish, for example, in Florida, come into Florida. What the decision point is not clear, but half those animals go to the Mississippi, the other half go to Chesapeake Bay. Here's an example, though, I think, of maybe the most fundamental important part. We find that tarpon migrate on what scientists call the 26-degree isotherm. That's 79 degrees Fahrenheit. That isotherm is in Florida right now. That's why the bulk of the animals are here.
Right.
The track itself shows that a tarpon in Florida, in the Keys, in fact, in May, ends up in the Chesapeake Bay about early July. And so they're up there feeding. The interesting part about the temperatures, that's the lower bound temperature of hurricane formation.
Wow.
And so this is a conversion of that temperature diagram to what the scientists call ocean heat content, which is the energy available for hurricane formation. But if you will, the animals are using this to migrate. The important discovery for science was that we improved the migration track positioning by about 80% by linking that. And we're understanding more about the use of the ocean, including depth. They go to about 600 feet. They travel on the order of 30 miles a day. And they have a much broader range than we ever thought.
Quickly, tell us about the new scale formula that you come up with there, Jerry.
Yeah, so we used data from world records, tagging, the tournaments in Mexico, et cetera, to develop a formula, an accurate formula that predicts the weight of tarpon to less than 1% error by getting measurements of the dorsal girth, the position, basically the area around the head of the dorsal fin, and the fork length. That formula itself has been instrumental in changing Mexicans' attitudes, moving from catch and consume tournaments to catch and release.
That's awesome.
It is, and we've gotten the Texans basically on the same boat. So we really don't need to be hanging these big, beautiful fish that live to 80 years up anymore on the
I agree with that.
The sales.
Hey, thank you so much for coming to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, and we'll get you on again. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure to bring science forward.
It's been great to bring it forward.